next session. The next talk is by Brahmachari Ved Chaitanya ji. Namaste Ved Chaitanya ji. Thank you for making time for the session. And he will be speaking on the topic Aparokshanubhuti, the intimate experience of reality. Just a brief introduction. Ved Chaitanya ji is a student of Samskrita and Vedanta. He comes from a family steeped in Chinmaya mission, an electronics and telecommunication engineer from Pune. He withdrew from work at TCS to follow his heart. He completed 2 years residential Vedanta course from Sandipani Sadhanalaya, Mumbai, and received Brahmacharya Diksha in 2013. He was then posted at Chinmaya Mission Navi Mumbai Center and is presently serving at Chinmaya International Foundation, Kochi. He is a very wonderful orator, cheerful, kind-hearted, and a scholarly student of Samskrita and Vedanta. His particular interest lies in the applications of Vedanta in daily life. He has completed his post-graduation in MA Samskrita from Chinmaya Vishwavidyapeeth and is presently pursuing his PhD. Again, very warm welcome to you. Please go ahead and start the session.
Hari Om. Thank you, Nitinji, and thank you to all the previous speakers who have so beautifully explained all the topics given to them. We'll start with a small prayer. Om Sahanavavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vitvishavahi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Samastajana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satkurum Brahma Vitvaram. Hari Om to one and all present. We are discussing about the prakarana-granthas of Advaita Vedanta, and as all the previous speakers have mentioned, we have to give credit to Bhashyakara Bhagwan Sri Adi Sankaracharya ji to have this compassion in the mind that there will be some students who may not understand the Prasthanatrayi, the Shastra Granthas directly. And it is out of sheer compassion of Shankaracharya ji that he has written all these texts. Even if we see the life of Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji, first he has written the commentaries on the Prasthanatrayi, and then he has come and written the prakarana-granthas. Earlier we saw the definition of prakarana-grantha, shastraika desha sambaddham, shastrakarya antaristhitam, etc. One interesting point about prakarana-grantha is it prepares us for Shastra Grantha, but each prakarana-grantha also has a unique purpose that it serves. It may have one topic of the Shastra Grantha or a few topics of Shastra Grantha or all topics of Shastra Grantha. That can vary. Say for example, we were discussing, let us say for example, Sadhana Panchakam, Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha, these are the texts. Now they will deal with mostly all the topics but in very briefly, whereas texts like Viveka Chudamani, Upadesha Sahasri, Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Sara Sangraha will deal in detail all the topics of Advaita Vedanta. We also have prakarana-granthas which will deal with a particular topic. Say Panchikarana means only that topic is taken. Another thing about prakarana-granthas is the methodology of the prakarana-grantha. And that methodology depends on what is the purpose served by that prakarana-grantha. Say for example, Sadhana Panchakam, if we see, in 5 verses, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji gives 40 steps to liberation. Now, by doing this, what he does is, each line will have two instructions. And therefore, 5 verses, and therefore we have, 5 into 4, those 40 steps we have. Now, in these 40 steps, what he does is, right from the beginning, Vedo Nityam Adhiyatam, up to Atapara Brahmatmanasthiyatam, what is the spiritual path of a seeker. So if I want to know where am I in my inquiry and what I should do, I should go to sadhana panchaka. So the purpose is to give the spiritual path, and the methodology used is what is called as sopana prakriya. He gives it step by step. Do this first. Veda nityam adhiyatam, then taduditam karma swanushtiyatam, teneshasya vidiyatam. He gives one by one. Study Vedas daily, then practice it. Whatever actions are prescribed by the Vedas, do it. Offer them unto Lord. So one by one, these steps are explained, giving the entire spiritual path. We take another grantha, for example, Tattvabodha, which was just now explained. That is the book of terms and definitions of Advaita Vedanta. So the purpose is very clear that Shankaracharya wants to describe or wants to define every single paribhashika shabda, technical word that will be used. So let us say, for example, Atma, Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, or even in sadhana-chatushtaya, Viveka, Vairagya, Samadhi, Shat Sampatti, Mumukshutva, Brahma, Maya, all these things are defined. Now, because definition is what is the purpose, you will not see him going much detail into the explanation of it. No, he is just defining, going forward, defining, going forward. And the methodology used is that of question and answer. So he himself will pose a question, Atma kaha, and then will give the answer. Sthula sukshma karana sharirad vyatiriktah panchakoshat san, etc. etc. So he himself will pose the question, prashnottari prakriya, and then he will give the answer. We come to Atma Bodha, another beautiful text. The purpose of that prakarana-grantha is to give conceptual clarity. Definitions, terms are already there in Tattvabodha. Spiritual path is already there in Sadhana Panchakam. Now here in Atma Bodha, what he will do? He will say, okay, what are the concepts of Vedanta? Let us say, for example, without self-knowledge, liberation is not possible, is a concept. Self always remains non-doer, is a concept. Jiva is a combination of self and mind, reflection of consciousness in the mind. So this is a concept. So each concept of Vedanta he will take and he will explain that concept by giving one example. So the methodology of Atma Bodha is to give example, drishtanta. So if there are 68 verses in Atma Bodha, there will be at least 40 examples, 40-45 examples will be there in Atma Bodha. We Upadesha Sahasri, very beautifully it was explained how he goes into detail of every single thing. All other places he will just mention it and go forward, but here he will go in detail. What is Shravana, what is Manana, what is the Adhikaritva of Guru, everything will be dealt in detail. Viveka Chudamani also you will see the similar condition. Even Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Sara Sangra, you will see different, similar thing. That he will give a definition, but then he will go on explaining each term, each concept also. Now today, the topic that is given to me is Aparokshanubhuti, another prakarana-grantha of Shankaracharya, which is called Aparokshanubhuti. I can't say it is a small text, nor can I say it is a big text, because it comes in between. And that's why I wanted to explain both sides first, so that I can explain Aparokshanubhuti. Aparokshanubhuti is a text which is in Gadya, which is in Padya, which is in metrical verses, and 144 metrical verses are given by Shankaracharya, all in Anushtup Chanda, to explain what is called as Aparokshanubhuti. The text, the title itself tells what is the purpose. Vedanta, unlike any other science, is a science which has to be experienced. It is a spiritual science. It is a subjective science. Physics, chemistry, biology, history, geography, all these are objective sciences. So it is enough for me to have information of certain concepts and clarity on that concepts for all other sciences. In Vedanta, along with the information, along with understanding, we need to have experience of it. Please see carefully. E is equal to mc square. Okay. First I need to have information, E is equal to mc square. then I need to go into detail and understand what Einstein means by E is equal to mc square. But I don't have to experience it personally. Even if I experience it, it will be outside experience, not my intimate experience, not my personal, not my inner experience. I may experience gravitation, and therefore I may understand gravitational law and also understand it further by going into detail Newton's, but I don't have to experience it within. Whereas in Advaita Vedanta, the knowledge of Brahman as my own self, first I need to hear, I need to do Shravana so the information comes, then I need to do Manana so that that information becomes an understanding, and I have to further go do Nididhyasana, practice of meditation, so that that understanding will become my experience. What kind of experience? Not Pratyaksha-anubhuti, not Paroksha-anubhuti, but Aparokshanubhuti. Pratyaksha means what I experience through my eyes, through my senses. Pratyaksha, aksham aksham prati. Paroksha means what I myself have not experienced, but I have heard it from somebody else who has experienced. That's called as Paroksha. Pratyaksha, we have so many things. I see this is a watch, this is a table, this is whatever I see, whatever I hear, direct, knowledge through my senses is called as Pratyaksha. Paroksha, I myself have not seen, but I have heard. There is some country called as United States of America. I have not gone there, but I have heard that there is something like that. Now that becomes a Paroksha Jnana. Pratyaksha Jnana, perception, sensory perception. Paroksha Jnana through the perception of other people's senses. But Brahman or Atman cannot be experienced as Pratyaksha or Paroksha. Why? Because senses are incapable of experiencing Brahman. My senses or anybody's senses. Senses, mind, intellect, they cannot experience Brahman, and therefore, when it comes to the knowledge of Brahman or experience of Brahman, it is called as Aparoksha Anubhuti. Aparoksha is just to say that it is neither Pratyaksha nor Paroksha. Aparoksha has got that kind of meaning that it is a direct, immediate, intimate experience. It's a direct perception. Means what? Not through any medium, just as senses, mind, etc. It is not even having any time lag. That's also another thing. Immediate. Immediate has two meanings. One is immediate time-wise, and immediate also means without any other medium. So without any other medium, without time lag, I experience Brahman as my own self, not as some object, but as the subject itself. That final experience of Brahman is what is called as Aparoksha Anubhuti. That is the main topic of this text. So naturally you can see the methodology. See, purpose is what? To explain Aparokshanubhuti, that intimate experience of reality of that Brahman as one's own self. Now the moment it is like that, what is going to be the method? The method is going to be very simple. The method is, he will explain what is the knowledge as information first. Then he will give some more clarity, understanding through manana, and then he will spend more time on nididhyasana, practice of meditation. So many times Aparokshanubhuti is considered as a text that deals with meditation as the main topic. However, there are other topics which are dealt with, but all of them are leading to meditation. See, nowadays meditation has become very popular thing, no? Everybody wants to meditate. But in Advaita Vedanta, it is very clear that without Shravana and Manana, practice of meditation has no meaning. Unless you hear it from Guru that you are that Brahman, unless you understand that I am that, without that information and knowledge, how am I going to meditate? What am I going to meditate on? Meditation is not just sitting quietly and keeping your mind quiet. That is only first step of meditation. Then that quietened mind has to be put into the knowledge that I have understood, that I have gained. And therefore, though the main topic is Nididhyasana, the practice of meditation, he starts with Shravana Manana also. Even before that, he starts with sadhana-chatushtaya. And as any other prakarana-grantha, he will start with also Mangalacharana. So Mangalacharana, prostrations, he is offering prostrations, and very interesting prostration. He is offering prostration to that Nirguna Nirakara Ishvara, who is along with Sarvajna, Sarvamatwadi Lakshana. Then that Saguna Sakara Bhagavan, which we call as Sri Hari, here Sri Harim Paramanandam, and also appearing as Guru. So you see, first verse itself, Sri Harim Paramanandam Upadeshtaram Ishwaram. Namamyaham, that's the verb. Aham namami, I prostrate to this. But you see what he has done here, Paramanandam namami, Ishwaram namami, Sri Harim namami, Upadeshtaram namami. I prostrate to that principle of Brahman, which is Nirguna Nirakara, but appears as Saguna Nirakara Ishvara, then takes a form and appears as Sri Hari, Saguna Sakara, and he himself appears as Upadeshtaram, as my Guru who is giving this Upadesha. I offer salutations to that Brahman who is appearing as all these. Thus he starts in a very, very beautiful note. In the second verse, he goes on to explain what is the Anubandha Chatushtaya, what are the preliminary considerations for this text. Aparokshanubhuti vai prochate. He gives very clear subject. Moksha siddhaye. Vishaya is given. Now what is the purpose? Moksha siddhaye, for attainment of liberation. Who is the adhikari? Sadbhi esha prayatnena vikshaniya muhurmuhu. One who is sadbhi, one who is a noble person. Now that nobility, what kind of noble person are you talking about? That nobility is explained as sadhana-chatushtaya through next verses, verse number 3 to 9. Very short, he explains, he gives definition of all sadhana-chatushtaya: viveka, vairagya, shama, dhamma, uparama, titiksha, shraddha, samadhana, mumukshutva. All 9 definitions are given, but in very short. Actually, there are around 32 prakarana-granthas authored by Shankaracharya ji. In all of them, there are 4 granthas where the definitions appear. First is Tattvabodha, just explained by previous speaker. Second is this Aparokshanubhuti. Third is Viveka Chudamani. And fourth is Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Sara Sangraha. And we see very beautifully, Tattvabodha gives definition in absolute short. Shama kaha, mano nigraha, over. What is Shama? Shama is mano nigraha, control of mind. We come to Aparokshanubhuti, we see a little longer definition. Then we go to Viveka Chudamani, we see still longer definition. Entire verse will be dedicated. In Aparokshanubhuti, half a line will be dedicated. See, Sadaiva Vasana Tyagaha Shamaha, Ayam iti Shabditaha, then Nigraho Bhaya Vrittinam Damaha iti Abhidiyate. Half of line. We go to Viveka Chudamani, full verse will be there. We go to Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Sara Sangraha, definition also will be there, and explanation of what that quality is and what that quality is not also will be there. See what compassion of Shankaracharya ji to describe it in all these ways in different texts, so that anybody who is interested in anything, if somebody is already tuned to it, if he wants only crisp, Tattvabodha is sufficient. Little more explanation is required, come to Aparokshanubhuti. Little more explanation is required, go to Vivek Chudamani. No, I want to know more, go to Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Sara Sangraha. So within prakarana-granthas, he offers so much of variety, though giving the same point, but in a different way. After explaining sadhana-chatushtaya briefly, he says now an eligible adhikari, an eligible aspirant must now go for vichara, inquiry. And he explains what is this inquiry. You should inquire about what. So you have verses 3 to 9 for sadhana-chatushtaya. Then verses number 10 to 16, he gives vichara, importance of inquiry, and what inquiry I should do. So he will pose different questions, and he will say that I should inquire about Jiva, I should inquire about Jagat, I should inquire about Ishvara, I should inquire about Maya, I should inquire about Brahman, and I should inquire about what is the relationship between Brahman and me. What is the sadhana associated with it? Inquire into all these things. So we will see that these verses, he will conclude by saying vicharaha saha ayam idrishaha. This is the vichara that is expected. This is the vichara. This is the inquiry that is expected. Most of the verses will end with the same pada. Then he goes to the next topic of Shravana. And he says from verses 17 to 23, he explains the distinction between the self and the body. And he says, considering the body to be the self is what we have come to suffer in this samsara. Kim ajnanam atah param. This will be the phrase that will be repeated in that section. What greater ignorance do we have self to be the body? Immediately next topic he will tell, he will take from verses 24 to 30 to explain, I am Brahman and not the body. Jnanam iti uchyate buddhayi. This is called as knowledge. So what is ajnana, what is ignorance, and now what is knowledge? I am Brahman and not this body. Now, for manana purpose, the next topic he will take, first thing he will explain why I am not body and why I am Brahman. And how I can never be body. How can body can never be the real self. So again he takes katham syad dehaka puman. How can I be the bodied human being? How can I be that? How can I be that? He takes different logics, different arguments to prove that I cannot be the body. One argument was given by Swamini Amma in the first lecture, the Drigdrishya Viveka. Because body is seen, therefore I am not the body. Another argument he will give is, because body is mine, therefore I am not the body. Whatever is mine is not me. So this is for manana, this is for reflection, so that the information that we have heard becomes knowledge, becomes understanding. Then he goes further and takes the similar inquiry into the world. So Tvam Pada is over, now Tat Pada. What is the world and how Brahman is the substratum of the world? That is taken from verses 41 to 58. Then comes a very interesting section where from verses 59 to 87, what he does is, he takes all the important examples given in Advaita Vedanta and gives all of them one after another. So you say Ghata and Mrit, the pot and the clay. You say Rajju Sarpa, rope and snake, Shuktika Rajata, shell and silver, Sthanu Purusha, pole and ghost and post, Marumarichika, the sand and the water that appears, mirage, Gandharva Pattana, the imaginary city that is appearing in the clouds, Dvichandra, one moon is seen as two moons because of the fault in the eye, Alata Shanti, Alata, the firebrand when rotated fast, the sparkler when rotated fast appears to be a circle, but actually it is only a point. Ghata Akasha, Avachedavada, which was earlier explained, Pratibimbavada, the sun reflecting into many buckets of water, Abhrachandra, that clouds are moving, but it appears that the moon behind them is moving. So like this, he is not explaining the concepts, but he is just bringing different examples for helping us in manana. It's a brilliant thing that Bhagavan Shankaracharya does here. Then he goes to the next topic and says, know this to be the self. And once you know this, that Brahman, which is of Satchidananda Swarupa, to be the self, there is no prarabdha for such a jnani. He explains that also. From verses 8 to 99. Then he comes to the main topic of nididhyasana. He has explained Shravana, he has explained Manana, he has given examples. Now comes nididhyasana, practice of meditation. And very beautifully, he gives 15 steps of meditation. From verses 100 to 124. You will see he is enumerating what are the 15 steps. Yama, Niyama, Tyaga, Mauna, Desha, Kala, Asana, Moolabandha, Deha Samya, Driksthiti, Prana Samyamana, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi. So we will see in verse 102 and 103, he enumerates these 15 steps. And from 104 onwards, he starts defining all of them. One thing that has to be noted in these 15 steps is, the words are similar to what is used in Yoga Shastra also. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. These words are same as Ashtanga Yoga, but the definitions are not same. These are definitions according to Advaita Vedanta. In Yoga Shastra, Yama, Niyama will be don'ts and do's. Do's and don'ts will be there. Isn't it? But here he is not explaining Yama Niyama as that. So beautifully he takes each step and explains each step and describes. Driksthiti, generally in Yoga Shastra, it will be explained as where your eyes should be. But here he will say, it is not the eyes, it is the vision that I am talking about. So that You should have that vision of self. Drishtim jnanamayim kritva pashyed brahmamayam jagat sa drishtif paramodara na nasagravalokini. So I am not just talking about that I should be focused on the tip of the nose. No, I am talking about drishti, the vision that you should have the brahmamayi drishti. So beautiful explanations of these 15 steps are also given in this text. Often people practice meditation and they face lot of difficulties. Now he does not forget to mention them, and therefore verses 125 to 130, next 6 verses, he explains about the obstacles in meditation. Obstacles like anusandhana rahitya, that I am not able to have consistency in my practice of meditation. Alasya, laziness. Bhogalalasa, I still desire something of the world, and therefore when I sit for meditation, my mind goes out. Laya, sleep comes to me. Many people, whoever practice meditation, they feel that, I feel like dozing. That laya. Tamas, sometimes I am not alert in that seat of meditation. Vikshepa, sometimes I am distracted. Rasaswada, sometimes I start to understand that quietude of mind. And shunyata, sometimes I go to shunya bhava. I go to void. So how to deal with these obstacles, that also he describes very briefly. Then he comes to the last topic from verses 131 to 144, describing how through this practice of meditation one can realize the self, Atma Anubhuti, or what is called as Aparokshanubhuti, and then remain as Brahman. That Brahmanishtha, how one can achieve. So thus, in 144 verses, we see Bhagavan Bhashyakara beautifully describing the topics of Vedanta, but in a very systematic way, in a very focused way. One thing that we have to remember, this is a text for little advanced seekers. It's not for newcomers totally. Like Tattvabodha, it can be taught to absolute beginners also. Aparokshanubhuti also can be taught to beginners. That's not the point, but it will be more useful for little advanced seekers who have already heard Vedanta, but now are trying to practice meditation and trying to have that experience. Okay, and therefore definitions also are little, to that level, not for the beginners. Okay, so these are the main points. Yeah, so that is what I have to say. If any questions are there, we can go for that, or otherwise we can conclude.
Thank you very much, Ved Chaitanya ji, for a very illuminative introduction to Aparokshanubhuti. I personally really like the text and its teaching. The very name has been is very attractive, Aparokshanubhuti. So thank you for coming on the program and doing this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nitinji, for calling and giving this wonderful topic. Hari Om, Hari Om.
Viewers,